It's all about truth. All of it. Every single thing. All boils down to the truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free. All right, welcome to the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. My name is Dan Dix. I'm your host here at Pressed for Truth. We'll be live for the next hour or so, taking your questions, going over a lot of the latest news in regards to COVID-19. Please, guys, click the thumbs up button, share this video, get the word out right now that we are indeed live. Let me just check to make sure we are. We had a bit of a false start first time around. Okay, it says I have 0 people watching, but there's already comments coming in. Hello, Bearded Heretic. Hello, Jose, Chrissy Bloom, Derek. Hello, everyone. All right, we have people tuning in. 44 people tuning in right now. Guys, again, please click the thumbs up button. Share this video, and if you're familiar with this channel at all, you will know it's heavily shadow banned. In fact, let me know if you guys got any notifications for this live stream, or did you just happen to stumble upon it? Chris says, "Hey Dan, good on you, man." Pillow Bug says, "Here for the laughs." Cool. I hope you have a good time. Mike Moore, hello. Reality Dose, hello. Hi everybody. All right, guys, make sure you get your questions in. We're going to cover a lot of crazy stuff today. Let me just get this set up to show you some of the things that we're going to be looking at. Just bear with me for a sec. We've got stuff like this coming out today. Let's see here. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Airline conducts COVID-19 blood tests on passengers. One airline is now administering blood tests to passengers before they board flights amid the coronavirus pandemic. It announced on Wednesday. We're going to get back to that. We're also going to talk about this grave concern about COVID-19 immunity passports. I'm sure you guys have heard of this concept. Trapped between the competing urgencies of saving lives from COVID-19 and avoiding economic calamity, some government officials have mooted immunity passports as a way through the impasse. But experts told France 24 that the necessary antibody testing is not reliable enough, and even if the scheme were feasible, it could create a dangerous incentive for some to acquire the virus in order to qualify for the passport. Quite an interesting concept there that we're going to explore as well. We also have this. MIT has developed a wireless box that can detect COVID-19 patients' movements and breathing at home. Why on earth would anybody want to invite this into their home? I mean, this is like the Alexa of health pandemics. COVID-19 pandemic has presented an unprecedented challenge for healthcare workers. Among the major challenges are social distancing issues, which have required novel approaches to diagnosing and treating illness. And anyways, we're going to get into this one as well. And there's a few other articles I want to cover as well, like this. Arrests have been made as protests are popping up all over the place. North Carolina businesses are calling for a reopening of the economy, and it's not just North Carolina. A lot of places are starting to protest now, and there's been some interesting, innovative ways, like the people who were doing, I think it was called Operation Shutdown or something like that, where they sat in their cars, so they're respecting the social distancing and the 2-meter rule, staying in their own individual car, but kind of, causing a lot of congestion and making a lot of noise that way. We see this. Facebook is going to be warning users who liked coronavirus hoaxes. So now if you're researching stuff online, you've come across something on Facebook and you give it a like, they may reach out to you and say, hey now, might want to double think this information. Have you liked or commented on a Facebook post about the COVID-19 pandemic? Facebook is about to begin letting you know if you are spreading bad information. This is unbelievable. We also have this from Mises. In March, U.S. deaths from COVID-19 totaled less than 2% of all deaths. So we are going to go ahead and look at some of those numbers. I got a funny throwback here that will be interesting to play. Back when I was covering the H1N1 vaccines in Toronto from 2009. Check this out. That's my old intro. My old intro before we decided to animate that into real life. So that's some of the things we're going to be covering today, guys. But let me just quickly hop on back to the chat, make sure we're still going. We still got you, and if there's any questions coming in. But yeah, a lot of interesting things to cover today, guys. All right, still got a lot of people saying hello. 250 people tuned in. 255 as a matter of fact. I hope the thumbs up are adding up to that. There should be about 255 thumbs up right now. Ireland says PFT rules. Thank you very much, people from Ireland. I did get a notification, says Astro Tommy. That's good. Bearded Heretic says I got notified. Other people got notified. Okay, good. A lot of times when I do these streams, people message me saying, "Hey, I didn't get the notification. Had no idea you were live." So I don't know. I don't know if it's a hit and miss or what. But my last live stream, guys, was taken down. The powers that ought not to be deleted all of that information, but thankfully it still exists on my BitChute channel, where all of these videos get uploaded to. In fact, they also deleted another video of mine just the other day explaining that viral tweet that I had on Twitter, and I kind of cleared the air about a few things in that video, but then YouTube went ahead and deleted that one as well. So if you want to see that, it is available on my BitChute, bitchute.com/pressfortruth. So there's a good chance this video is not going to survive here on YouTube either. But that's because I'm constantly challenging the status quo, and this is a bit of a thorn in the side for the powers that ought not to be, as I often call them, and they've been systematically shutting down a lot of voices like ours online. They can't just do it all in one fell swoop. It would be far too noticeable, and so there's been an incremental approach to the silencing of voices such as mine by first demonetizing my channel, 100%. You guys remember you used to be able to send me super chats here, which was greatly appreciated. I'm not able to get super chats anymore. Not able to make a single penny off of this platform anymore. But that's totally okay. I could reapply for monetization, but I'm not going to. I see it as a blessing in disguise. I don't want to be reliant on Google money anyways. I want to rely directly on you guys, the viewers. I want to be beholden to you 100%. It's a relationship with you and me. So guys, if you do appreciate my efforts, if you do like my work, please check the links in the description to find out how you can contribute to our efforts here by donating or joining as a member. You can join as a PFT patron. You can join my Subscribe Star. You can join as a member on pressfortruth.ca. You can contribute Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Anything helps. But again, please check the links in the description to do that. All right, I'm going to get back to the questions in a minute, but first off, let's get into some of this crazy news that's just coming out today, like this one where the airline, I think it's Emirates Airlines, said they're going to start taking blood tests. Emirates said this week that on a Wednesday flight to Tanzania from Dubai, passengers were all tested for COVID-19 before departing by way of blood tests conducted by the Dubai Health Authority at the airport's check-in area, and results were available within 10 minutes. This should raise a great deal of concern here when it comes to forced blood testing in order to be able to fly. I mean, what are they doing with your DNA after they collect it? Emirates called itself the first airline to conduct on-site rapid COVID-19 tests on its passengers. These blood tests are in addition to other precautions that the airline has taken, such as requiring passengers to wear a mask. So on top of the mask, you got to get a blood taken. Blood tests aren't meant to diagnose active coronavirus infections, but they check for proteins in the immune system known as antibodies throughout the blood sample, and their presence means a person was exposed to the virus and developed antibodies against it. Guess what, guys? A lot of people have been exposed to the coronavirus. In fact, there's probably a good chance you may be walking around with some form of a coronavirus in your system right now. And the question is, how reliable are the COVID-19 tests in determining which coronaviruses are actually this new mutated strain and which ones are ones we've seen for many, many years? As I pointed out in my video just the other day, they've been doctors have been instructed by the CDC to chalk it up on the death certificates as COVID-19 deaths, when a lot of the times That's not the case at all. I have people contacting me saying, my mother, we just took our mom to the hospital. She died of heart failure, but they're calling it COVID-19. And we're saying, no, it wasn't that. It was heart failure. Other people have contacted me saying, I just got out of the hospital for something, and paramedics brought these two guys in. They were dead, meth addicts who overdosed, and the cause of death was cardiac arrest, and they chalked it up to COVID-19. And this guy tells me that he was sitting there listening to the paramedics plead with the people who were filling out the death certificate, saying, no, it's cardiac arrest, not COVID. But that's what they marked it down as anyways. So really, it's getting tough to trust these numbers coming from the World Health Organization and the Center for Disease Control and people like the likes of Bill Gates. I mean, you really got to take their information with a grain of salt, because when you look around, the numbers just are simply not adding up. And that's a lot of the point that we're making, is that this overreaction by the government to completely clamp down on the middle class and to shut down middle and small sized businesses and to effectively put billions and billions of people on lockdown for something that has killed less than 2% of the global population seems absolutely ludicrous to me. When have we ever taken such drastic measures, and is it really, really necessary at this stage in the game? Well, I think that's why we're starting to see a lot of these protests pop up all over the place, because people are seeing a disconnect in the numbers and what they're seeing all around them, realizing they don't know anybody who even knows anybody who's contracted this, yet our rights are being completely obliterated. It just doesn't add up. And that's not to say that, we shouldn't be cautious. Of course, if people want to take these precautions, if they want to wear masks, if they want to stay in their house, if they want to social distance, if they want to stay away from society or stay away from other people by 6 feet, fine, totally fine. That makes sense. You do what you got to do to protect yourself and your family. But I think people really got to stop policing one another so much and, just kind of worry about yourself. I've gotten a lot of hate on Twitter for speaking out about this, and we have this collectivist mindset of people wanting to police one another, where you really got to mind your own business. I've been doing a lot of research into the numbers. A lot of people are just taking their information from the mainstream media, from the WHO and the CDC and Bill Gates and these types of resources, when meanwhile they've already openly admitted to fudging the numbers. Look at Dr. Anthony Fauci, who said there was going to be 200,000 deaths, and then they've knocked that back to just 60,000. Now people are going to say, well, that's because the quarantines are working. That's because the lockdowns in place are doing what they're supposed to do. Well, is that quantifiable? And what about the fact that when he said this, it was put into the minds of the masses that, oh my God, millions infected, 200,000 people dead. This is crazy. Yes, we should give up our rights. But those numbers are not true. Now we're finding out that that's simply not the case. But it's already been ingrained in the minds of the masses that this is a very, very serious pandemic. And I'm not saying it's not real. Obviously, yes, this thing is real. Yes, people are dying, but simply not in the numbers that these officials are having us believe they are. So let's take a look at some of the other news surrounding what's going on with this. We have grave concerns about COVID-19 immunity passports. The global tally of confirmed coronavirus cases surpasses 2 million on Wednesday, a day after researchers at the Harvard University School of Public Health warned that the U.S. may need to keep social distancing measures until 2022, guys. While the IMF predicted that thanks to the Great Lockdown, the world will suffer the worst recession since the Great Depression. And I want to remind you, I did make a video about that with Tim Pashot, the Liberty Advisor, where we talked about the fact that this is, according to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, leading to a recession greater than the Great Depression. That's why I'm getting really frustrated with these people who are on Twitter saying, this guy believes in the economy more than people's lives. He wants to restore businesses rather than, help the sick. It's like, oh, you guys clearly don't understand what I'm saying. If things continue the way they are going to continue, more lives are going to be lost. If we continue to crash the global economy the way it's happening and we allow this to continue, what is it going to lead to, guys? Mass poverty, starvation, suicides. people murdering each other for food. You name it. This has potential to kill far more people than COVID ever will if we're going by the true numbers today. So it's to me, it's not a matter of is the government overreacting. They clearly are. To me, the question is now, are we going to be able to come back from this and get back to some sort of normality, as Justin Trudeau said, without having to take some sort of vaccine? You know, is it going to be a matter of, well, sure, you want to get back to life as it was, not having to wait in line and being able to go in here and do your thing? Did you get the shot? Do you have this immunity passport that they're speaking of? Well, that's what it's coming down to, ladies and gentlemen. Anxious about both the unfolding economic disaster and the risk of COVID-19 resurging if lockdowns are reversed prematurely, some officials in hard-hit countries have suggested that a system of immunity passports could be a route out of the coronavirus crisis. For some, at least, the idea is that people who have already had the disease and thereby gained immunity could be given permits to live their lives most like they did before the pandemic. So if you can prove to them that you've gained an immunity to this, you can continue in commerce. Now, how are people going to prove that? This goes into the Bill Gates Global ID 2020 program. Shortly after emerging from self-isolation after testing positive for COVID, the UK's Health Secretary Matt Hancock announced in early April that the British government was considering an immunity certificate system to allow those who qualify to get back as much as possible to normal life. We are now in the realms of talking about immunity passports. Guys, if that isn't kind of, or Orwellian, nightmarish, scary stuff to you, and I mean, you got to get your head out of the sand. You got to stick your head out the window and say, I'm tired as hell and not going to take this anymore. It's absolute insanity. We have this from TechCrunch. MIT developed a wireless box that can detect COVID patients' movements and breathing at home. It says here, for many who have already tested positive, home stays are the best option to avoid an already massively overtaxed hospital system in many areas and to avoid further infecting others. The question then is how doctors and nurses can continue to provide treatment remotely with the pronounced limitations of telemedicine. MIT's CSAIL this week shed some light on the ongoing trials it has been conducting in a new device designed to keep tabs on patients in their homes. The opt-in system superficially reassembles a Wi-Fi router mounted to the patient's wall. It utilizes wireless signals to detect a wide range of different activities, including patients' movements, sleep patterns, and even, most crucially, breathing. Emerald is able to distinguish between different people using artificial intelligence to track your movement. My friends, if you are inviting this into your home, you are a complete slave and you deserve your enslavement and to be, under this 1984 Orwellian lockdown. If you were going to willingly opt into this system, which for now it's an option, I can't count how many times I've pointed out in the past when these things happen, how at first things are optional, they're, opt in, and then they become mandatory over time. They can't make it mandatory right away. Remember, these things are done incrementally. People would be awfully upset if the government demanded you put a device that's going to track your every movement and your breathing and your sleeping patterns in your home. But if you ask them to do it, well, boy, oh boy, have they ever turn the switch and flip that one around. This is why, guys, people are getting out in the streets and protesting. I want to remind you, right here, a group of demonstrators are outside the General Assembly in downtown Raleigh Tuesday morning, calling for businesses to reopen amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Some are holding signs that say reopen NC, while another holds signs that reads freedom is not free. Another sign said hashtag reopen NC, hashtag tyranny. The police were on scene telling the demonstrators that they were in violation of the executive order. Many went to their vehicles where they blared their car horns nonstop. Some began to drive around the block while laying on their car horns. I think somebody was arrested. Around 12:20, officers used the bullhorn to tell the crowd they risked arrest by being in attendance. Just after 12:30, the officers could be seen leading a woman away in handcuffs. While being led away, she told CBS, she said, "These officers are just doing their jobs. I'm just doing mine." She was later identified as Monica Faith Usury, 51, who lives just outside Holly Springs. She faces a charge for violating an executive order. Did you know that Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, stood there on his press podium and told all the people of Canada that over Easter weekend, you must stay at home. You must obey these lockdown orders. And then what did he do? He went to the cottage with his family for Easter weekend, doing exactly what he told you not to do. And subsequently, a family in, I believe it was on Ontario somewhere, was fined $880 for rollerblading together, even though they all live within the same house. A little bit hypocritical much? Guys, let's get back to your questions real quick and comments. We got 500 people tuned in. I hope we have 500 thumbs up. Please, guys, click that thumbs up button. Share this video. Once again, we're being heavily shadow banned. They do not want this kind of information to be getting out there, so please click the thumbs up button, share this video. And again, I'm not able to get your super chats anymore. So if you do want to contribute to this live stream, there are links in the description to where you can donate with PayPal or you can join as a member. You can donate Bitcoin. There's lots of options, but we do need your support in that way too, guys. All right, I'm going to scroll through here. We got a lot to catch up on. A lot of people saying hello, hello, hello. Greetings, greetings from PEI, New Brunswick. See if we got any questions. People are saying they did get the notification. That's good. Doesn't really happen a lot. Let's see. Jeff Clark says, blood tests that go where? They're really going to a lab for testing? Yeah, well, apparently they have the ability to test it right there on the site and get results within 10 minutes. Guys, if they can do that at the airports, do you think it might be leading to that happening to you in your car? You know, roadside blood testing. You know, as Corbett said the other day in a fantastic video, where are you going to be willing to draw the line with how much tyranny, how much tyrannical authoritarianship are you willing to take here in order to feel protected? You know, where's your line in the sand? I'll ask you out there, PFT audience. Is it when jackbooted thugs kick in your door and demand a blood test and put you on quarantine even if you're not sick? Or is that justified in your view because of the current situation? Let me know in the comments below. Where do you guys draw the line in the sand? I've already drawn that line. They've taken it way too far. Millions of people are going to die if we continue to destroy the economy in the way that we are. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, has just vindicated what I have been saying by warning that we are leading towards something worse than the Great Depression. Do you guys understand what that means? During the Great Depression, 1 in 4 Americans were not working. Okay, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of hardships. That leads to a lot of issues beyond the things I've mentioned, starvations and suicides. You know, we're venturing into depression and alcohol and drug abuse and all sorts of things that are going to wreak havoc on society if we continue to do this based on these numbers that are clearly overblown. All right, let me see if I'm missing anything. Scroll back. No to FEMA camps, says Jonah. No 5G, no mass vaccination, said Greg. No surveillance, 100% transparency. Yes, another thing. The surveillance state that's popping up in regards to this is another thing people wouldn't have necessarily openly accepted. But now, if it's going to mean saving lives, then yeah, well, do what you got to do. You know, that it's amazing how fast people have been turned around to basically beg for their own enslavement because of fear. They're scared. They're scared to death, and I can hardly blame them. If you are just tuning into the mainstream news outlets every day, I'd probably be like you guys too, walking around in masks and social distancing and going, oh, every time I see somebody not doing what I'm doing. But I'm not eating up this nonsense. I'm not tuning in to the mainstream. I do to see what kind of nonsense they're spewing so I can counter it. But guys, if all the info you're getting is from the TV, from Fox and CNN and the World Health Organization and the CDC and Fauci, then you're not getting the full picture. In fact, in some cases, you're being flat out lied to when it comes to death numbers. And this is leading to panic buying. This is leading to society policing one another, all based on a fundamental principle that they want you to believe that there is this potential threat that you can potentially get, maybe not, but that you have to give up so many rights because of that. Okay, let me see if we got any other questions before we get back into some of the news. Somebody says it's going to be like Y2K all over again. Where in Canada are the protests happening tomorrow? TSP TV, good question. I believe there are some people planning to meet at 2 o'clock. A poster has been made. Don't quote me on the time and place, but I believe it's tomorrow, 2 o'clock, City Hall. Pretty sure. And there may be another one on Sunday as well. 2 o'clock, Sunday, Burrard and Forth, I believe. So let's see, what else do we have here? Dan, why don't they shut down for all the abortions? Says Pam James. Yeah, very interesting. They've deemed that to be an essential service, because I'll tell you why. Because it's all about death for them. Guys like Bill Gates are hardcore eugenicists. His father, who is still alive today, was on the board of Planned Parenthood. This guy thinks that we're dealing with overpopulation. My friends, overpopulation is a myth. That is a total lie brought to you by the global elite. There is plenty of room and plenty of resources for billions upon billions of people on this planet. And guess what? There's only one way to reduce the global population. Two ways, rather. You either decrease the birth rate or you increase the death rate. Both of those things are incredibly troublesome to me. That's some intrusive areas of our lives, restricting our ability to have children and ending our lives before it should. Guys, overpopulation is a myth. These guys pulling the strings are complete eugenicists. Bill Gates is Bill Gates the third. His father became senior, and Bill Gates Jr., he named himself senior because his son got more famous than him. But his dad is also in this eugenicist line. The current famous Bill Gates today is the third of 3 Bill Gates. It's a family bloodline of eugenicists who are interested in population reduction, population control. And I know this is going to sound conspiratorial to a lot of people out there. They're going to think this sounds crazy. What? He thinks Bill Gates wants to kill people. Guys, do the research yourself. Please don't take it from me. Absolutely should not take it from me. Go look into it for yourself. Dig deep. Go look at Bill Gates' Instagram account right now. This is something very, very interesting going on. This guy's Instagram account is being flooded with negative accounts. Just go check it out. Go to Bill Gates' Instagram account, click on any posts, and start to read the comments. And you will be amazed at the flood of people that are flocking to his Instagram right now to say, we don't want your vaccine. We don't want you to be involved in this. You are a scumbag. You are a eugenicist. Leave us alone. It goes on and on and on and on. I would encourage you guys to check that out today. Go check out Bill Gates' Instagram account. Click on any post, and you tell me what the percentage of comments are, good versus bad. How many people are supporting this man in the open public versus what they're making it look like based on the mainstream media's portrayal of this man. He is not liked by the general public, folks. People don't want his vaccine. They don't want his money. They don't want his help. They know he flew around with Jeffrey Epstein. He's in that pedophile network, okay? These things are starting to come out. But the sheeple out there, I hate to call them that. We were all there. We all woke up at some point. But there still are a lot of sleepy people out there who aren't seeing this for what it is. That's why I'm going to continue to bring this information to the table so long as I will be able to on this platform. But again, that's why I've diversified into a number of other platforms. Guys, if you're not following me on BitChute, subscribe to me there. Subscribe to me on Float, FLOTE.app. Minds, BitChute, Float, DTube, Steemit, PocketNet. I'm on a bunch of them. They're all in the links below, guys. It's really important moving forward as a hedge against censorship. They've already deleted a couple of my coronavirus videos just in the last week. I've had 2 videos deleted, but they still exist on BitChute, so make sure you go over there to stay up with everything I'm doing. And again, if you do appreciate my efforts, there's no more super chats, there's no more things like that, but I have a GoFundMe set up. I have a PayPal. You can donate by clicking on the links in the description below. Please do that, guys. We do need your help moving forward. I've got a lot of attacks, not just from the powers that ought not to be, but also from the the zombies, if you will, who are pinning me as the enemy these days for going against the status quo. Well, they're coming after me in all sorts of ways, guys. It's things that I'm not going to get into here live, but it is quite intense. But hey, somebody's got to do it. Let's see what other questions we have. Lewis Skunk, he's a computer guy. Why is he trying to be a doctor? I know. He's a software nerd. Why is anybody taking this guy's word? A good job with the vaccine lowers the world's population by 10 to 15%, according to Bill Gates, says Red-Eyed Jedi 420 UK. Nice name. Yeah, he's openly talked in TED Talks about his desire for global population reduction and the ability to have vaccines assist in not only tracking human beings all over the world, but assist in this overpopulation problem. It is quite crazy. And obviously, in the news lately, he just released a commercial promoting Bromovic. I can't remember her first name, Adriana Bromovic or something like that. She's the spirit cooker. She's the Satanist. She's the occultist who's been kind of showing these guys behind the scenes how to obtain this dark energy through ritual sacrifices and things of that nature. Microsoft literally put out a commercial promoting this woman the other day. The negative comments were 24,000 to a couple hundred thumbs up. And Microsoft ended up deleting the video. They removed it because they realized, uh-oh, that's not a good look. On Easter weekend, supporting Satanists while you're pushing a vaccine for global depopulation reduction. Yeah, not a good move from the Gates. All right, I'm going to get back to your questions. Dan for a PM. Yeah, I don't know if that would be a happening anytime soon or a good idea. Let me see if there's any news that I've missed to cover before we continue on. Yeah, we got into the MIT thing. Check this out, guys. We have this is pretty wild. Facebook is going to warn users who liked coronavirus hoaxes. Facebook, have you liked or commented on a Facebook post about COVID-19 pandemic? Facebook's about to begin letting you know if you've spread bad information. The company will soon be letting users know if they liked, reacted to, or commented on posts with harmful misinformation about the virus that was removed by moderators. It will also direct those who engaged with those posts to information about virus myths debunked by the World Health Organization. My friends, they are so desperate to control the narrative moving forward that they are going to, try to so-called debunk this type of information that I'm putting out here now. I can almost guarantee that there's going to be a banner below this video saying, you want real info on COVID? Go to the World Health Organization. Here's a link. Well, as we saw just the other day, and I pointed out in one of my recent videos, the Canadian government is now looking to enact new legislation to deal with what it calls misinformation. You guys know what this is really truly about. This is memory holing. This is 1984 Winston Smith stuff, where he's going to, control. They're going to control the narrative, and the opinions and ideas and thoughts that they don't want getting out to the masses are going to be silenced. Guys like me will be pushed into the back corner of the internet, while the masses only get access to their official controlled narrative. That's where this is leading to. Social media awash in bad takes about the outbreak, and platforms have begun to combat that misinformation. Facebook said Thursday that people will begin seeing warning messages in the coming weeks. Facebook and other platforms have already taken steps to curb the wave of dangerous misinformation that has spread along with the coronavirus. Facebook has banned bogus ads promising coronavirus treatments or cures. No such thing exists. There is no vaccine, though there is a global race to develop one. Facebook has also recently said that they're going to begin censoring people posting any information that is tantamount to anti-vax information. And what you see happening in the world today makes it clear to me why the anti-vax movement was such a thorn in the side for the powers that ought not to be, why it was such a problem that they had to deal with moving forward. I started covering this back in 2008, 2009. We have this video that I put out back in November of 2009. Let's give this one a watch for a quick sec. Let me pull it back. You can see my old intro before I animated it with myself walking down the tunnel. This is how it used to be. Old school.
Good day, everyone. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth, and we are currently
standing
I had
a little more weight on
Toronto
me back then.
Metro Hall on the fourth day of the inoculation program that is underway here in Toronto, Canada. So currently out front of the Metro Hall here, we have a lineup of no more than 100 people. Now that's interesting when you compare it to 4 days ago when we covered day one of the inoculation program, where there had to be about 1,500 people waiting out front. This clearly shows that the propaganda that the mainstream media is trying to push on the general population is not having a desired effect.
I'll include links to this in the description below after this broadcast is over. In fact, we did a series of videos a year before this, I think, or maybe earlier in 2009. It probably was January or February in 2009. A two-part series called "The Shot is the Pandemic," and again, that was 11 years ago. And I think our efforts led to what became this anti-vax movement, and it was a massive thorn in the side, because now we do see how that is a big part of the agenda moving forward. We've already looked at these immunity passports that they're talking about. We've already discussed the Global ID 2020 program. This is a reality, and we're marching into it fast right now, guys. It's absolutely unbelievable. Okay, I'm going to quickly get back to the comments and questions. 629 people tuned in right now, guys. I hope we have at least 629 thumbs up. If you haven't clicked that button yet, please do, folks. It really does help with the algorithms here that are designed to stop this information from being seen. So please click the thumbs up button right now. Take a second, click the button. Really, really, really appreciate it. It really does help a lot. Who wants alcohol to stop? Says Kat Tamer. Well, we've seen how that's gone before. And if they do that, that will be like an on-purpose triggering of civil unrest. You know, if they purposefully take away people's booze in this time, and people know, and you shouldn't be doing this, but in times of difficulty like this, people do turn to comfort food and alcohol and things of that nature. You take it away, it's going to be really, really, really nasty. Not saying people should rely on those things, but it seems like a calculated move to take something like that away. It's kind of like when the music industry back in the day put the warning labels, stickers on heavy metal bands and stuff saying, warning, explicit content. Well, the heavy metal bands were secretly like, sweet, now the kids are really going to want it. And I think the powers that ought not to be knew that as well. They want kids listening to this stuff moving forward. And it's similar with the shutting down of alcohol. It'll be purposefully to cause civil unrest and more panic buying and things of that nature. It's not going to be good. Nobel says, that's wrong. I love my alcohol. Got smashed yesterday. I hope you're feeling okay today, buddy. What do we got? Let's look for some more questions. I'm going to scroll through a little bit. 305 likes, says Dale. That doesn't add up. Please, guys, click the thumbs up button. We got 620 people tuned in right now. Share this video. Get those thumbs up button. Get your questions and comments in the comment section. I am going to be going live for another maybe half hour or so because I'm going live following this on another podcast with somebody else, David Whitehead. I'll be live with him for an hour from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So I'm going to do this live stream for my channel, and then I'm going to go do another hour live stream with David Whitehead. So if you're not subscribed to him, oh gosh, what's his channel? I think it's The Truth Warrior. I shouldn't have said that without knowing for sure, but just look up David Whitehead. I'm going to be on his program in like 50 minutes from now. Okay, let me look through to see if we have any other questions. Again, thank you guys for tuning in and for being loyal subscribers. Ariel says, Dan, you now have 509 likes. All right, that's great. Thank you so much for getting those numbers up. Okay, what is wrong with the Canadians? Well, they're acquiescing to a tyrannical government. And look, that's not to say, guys, that people like Adrian Dix, the health minister, or other officials involved with this are nefarious people or shady people, are doing anything intentionally wrong. I think these are good people. These are people who have good intentions and who are following the advice of those who are above them, essentially. But you got to understand, this current system of control that we are in, that has been being developed over the last couple of centuries, is set up like a pyramidal structure of control, where not only at the top where they reside is where they have all the power, but they also have all the knowledge. And you see, just like power works incrementally on the way down to where you have less and less, knowledge works incrementally on the way down to where you have less and less as well. It's called incrementalism. They're not aware of the pawns that they are being used by the powers that ought not to be, who are above them. You know, they're not necessarily the problem. You got to follow it all the way to the top. It's just like if you have an issue with fiat banking and the banksters, you don't walk into a bank and take it out on a clerk. They're just a lowly clerk, right? You go all the way to the top, which would be the Rothschilds in that example. Or if you, I remember interviewing, what is his name? Famous rapper guy. And he was like, if you got a problem with a Burger King burger or something, you don't walk into the Burger King and start yelling at the guy who gave you the burger. You go to the manager and you go all the way to the top. Same thing. Same thing we have to do. What authority does WHO have since U.S. dropped funding? U.S. biggest contributor, says Magnanimous. Yeah, it's interesting how Trump just announced withdrawing funding to the World Health Organization amidst this so-called pandemic, and I saw the response from Bill Gates saying this is, quote, beyond dangerous or something like that. Sorry, don't quote me, but he said, I think he said this is beyond dangerous. And I couldn't help but think to myself, well, you've got a lot of money, Bill Gates, and you know what? I'm sure you could probably secure some funding through that network that you're involved in. You know, that one with Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, who didn't kill himself. Yeah, you could probably secure some funding from, that network, the pedophile network. Again, if you're just hearing about this information for the first time right now, look into it, guys. Bill Gates, Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, pedophile network. I'll leave it with that. Go Google it. The lockdown ends as soon as we all go outside. It's up to us. This is true. Taxes end as well when we all decide to stop paying them. That's another topic altogether. Gates already does fund who? Yes, he does. What do you think of this pandemic in terms of being Christian? Interesting question. I mean, God's sovereignty will always reign. God has a plan. Everything is ordained by God, but that's not to say that certain things along the way are being corrupted and require pointing out. And that's how I see this playing out. I mean, yes, the current rulers of today have been anointed by God to be in the position that they are in. But, does that mean that we should go along with Justin Trudeau's trans rights agenda and his movement to abort babies and all things like that? No, absolutely not. Do I respect Romans 13? Yes, I do. Do I respect these puppets on a string who are, destroying the family unit like Justin Trudeau? No, I don't. So I get the big picture in what you're saying, but I still like to point out all of the problems that we are seeing all along the way. Dan, has the church been infiltrated by false shepherds and teachers? Do these false teachers belong to God? Yeah, the church has been infiltrated. You can just look at the evangelical movement in the United States, for example. A lot of them are preaching the, what would you call it, the prosperity gospel, where you can become rich. You can get all the things you want. Look at that Kenneth Copeland guy. He's like hundreds of millions of dollars. He might even be a billionaire. He owns his private jets. He preaches this prosperity gospel. A lot of these guys do. And that is in direct contrast to what the teachings of Jesus were. If your intentions are to, come out on top, have money, have fame, all these sorts of things, God is clearly going to see through your heart, as he does with these a lot of these guys, these evangelicists. That's a hard word to say, especially for a guy with a bit of a lisp. Cindy says, anointed by God, WTF. Yeah, maybe pick up your Bible here and there. I mean, it is the most famous, controversial book that has ever been written. Wars have been fought over it. Philosophers and great thinkers have debated about it for thousands of years. I think just for research purposes even. If you're not a Christian, that's fine. If you don't believe in God, that's fine. But in terms of research purposes about how things play out in the world, isn't it worth even just taking a look? I think so. It's the most fascinating book in the world to me. What do you think of the global uniform burning ceremony, April 25th, 6 to 7 in your town? I have not heard of that. Yeah, that's the first one to me. I have not heard that something like that is going on, but I'm not surprised. People are getting unbelievably fed up with the current status quo, if you want to call it, the current scenario we've all found ourselves in. I'm not surprised. Okay. Let's see if we got any other questions and see if I have any other news that I forgot to cover. Let me just scroll through some of these articles I had lined up. We do have this. This is interesting. Coming out from Mises. In March, U.S. deaths from COVID-19 total less than 2% of all deaths. About 2.9 million people die in the United States every year from all causes. Monthly, this total ranges from around 220,000 in the summertime to more than 280,000 in the winter. In recent decades, Flu season has often peaked sometime from January to March, and this is a major driver in total deaths. The average daily number of deaths from December through March is over 8,000. Now, so far, total death data is too preliminary to know if there have been any significant increase in total deaths as a result of COVID-19. And this is an important metric because it gives us some insight into whether or not COVID-19 is driving total health numbers well above what would otherwise be expected, right? Are these normal numbers or aren't they? Indeed, according to some sources, it's not clear that total deaths have increased significantly as a result of COVID-19. In a March 30th article for The Spectator, former UK National Health Service pathologist John Lee noted that the current number of deaths from COVID-19 does not indicate that the UK is experiencing excess death. Lee writes, the simplest way to judge whether we have an exponentially lethal disease is to look at the death rates. Are more people dying than we would expect to die anyway in a given week or month? Statistically, we would expect about 51,000 to die in Britain this month. At the time of writing, 422 deaths are linked to COVID-19. So 0.8% of that expected total. On a global basis, we'd expect 14 million to die over the first 3 months of the year. The world's 18,944 corona deaths represent 0.14% of that total. These figures might shoot up, but they are right now lower than other infectious diseases that we live with, such as the flu. Not figures that would in and of themselves cause drastic global reactions. And that's the bottom line, guys. This is the truth about the actual numbers. Do today's coronavirus death numbers add up to being worthy of a complete and total shutdown of the global economy, wiping out small and medium-sized businesses, destroying the middle class, locking down 3 billion people globally? Does it seem justified to you? Do you think maybe in who knows from now, how long from now, 6 months, a year, or whatever, people are going to look back and say, maybe we did overreact. Now that we see what the actual numbers were and, how people are now like in massive poverty and like people are starving to death all over the place, maybe we shouldn't have destroyed the global economy based on this thing that wasn't even as bad as they were telling us. I'm being laughed at these days as a conspiracy theory, but I hate to be continually vindicated on this stuff, but I often am. And I think that will be proven to be the case later down the road, guys, as we see. Unless, of course, a second phase is introduced. Unless, of course, this is a multi-phase bioweapon, where phase 1 is to condition us into being able to accept such measures. And then if phase 2 is released, that is an actual extremely deadly bioweapon that will wipe out hundreds of millions of people, well, then they can say, no time for messing around. Lock it down now, right away. You saw what happened last time. This is a new one. Can't take any chances. Boom. New world order, one world government, done in the flip of a switch overnight. Does that sound crazy to you? Guys, at this stage in the game, that is entirely possible. The mechanisms are already in place for this global government. Just look how fast things have changed in just the last month. The entire New World Order global government system can be enacted at the flip of the switch in a matter of, I would say, 48 hours. So we're at a crux in the road, my friends. We're at a very interesting time where, history may look back at this time and say, were you on the side of the authoritarian regimes who clamped down on us? Or were you on the side of people who questioned things, who went against what these oligarch authoritarian regimes were saying it was, and you critically thought and you didn't tune in to the boob tube every day for your information, but you actually got online and you learned from people like Press for Truth? I hope you will be able to say that to your kids and grandkids moving forward, that you were on the right side of history when they tried to use this pandemic to clamp down on society. I'm going to get back to the questions here, and then we may call it, because I do have another podcast that I'm going to be doing live with somebody in about 40 minutes from now, and Might want to take a quick little break because these live streams can be somewhat mentally exhausting sometimes. But I'm going to do one following this right away with David Whitehead on his channel. So subscribe to him if you haven't. Look him up on YouTube. You'll find it. Okay. Somebody says 5G. I've done a lot of videos on 5G. Just use the search feature on my channel to look up 5G and you'll find all my coverage. I've interviewed a lot of big names about 5G. I interviewed David Icke about 5G, interviewed Max Egan about 5G. I did a 5G video that's one of my most viewed videos. It went viral. It's got 750,000 views with me and John Snyson. He's a wireless technician. He's a Wi-Fi expert, and that one went viral. We got a lot of good information about 5G on my channel. Be sure to check that out. Okay. We got 611 people watching. I hope we have at least 611 thumbs up out there, guys. If you haven't clicked that thumbs up button yet, please do. I want to encourage you guys out there also to engage in the black market, aka the free market. If you need a haircut, let's go with that as an example, because that's a good example. This is an industry that's being hit hard, kind of like the restaurant industry. Contact your local barber and just put it out there and say, hey, it's tough times, man. You've been hit hard. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're surviving. But hey, just throwing it out there, wondering if you're operating on the black market, aka the free market. I would love to be able to provide you some business. The government shouldn't be able to just destroy your livelihood. If you're interested, I can come over to your house, or we can meet at an agreed upon place to meet. But are you interested in doing that? And take this concept into other areas of your life moving forward, guys, and take the power back into your own hands. That's what we need to do. The government's not there to save you. They're not there to help you. In fact, they are the main cause of all the serious problems you're having today. So that's really the bottom line. Dark Horse says, I need a haircut too. I think a lot of people out there are feeling that right now. Honestly, contact the person who you've been getting a haircut from, if you're able to. I luckily have the cell phone, digits of both the people who do my hair. So I'm getting to that point. I think I need one pretty soon. So I'm probably going to message them in the next couple of days and do exactly that. Say, hey, are you guys taking business? Are you doing any home visits or anything like that? I want to support you. I want to give your money, and I need a haircut. Win-win for both. Great advice, says Julie Vito. Okay, I'm going to scroll back, see if I've missed anything. Rockefeller Foundation Report 2010 was a vision of a series of pandemics to bankrupt global economy, says KT. Yes, I've seen that. In that Rockefeller Foundation report from 2010, they outlined 4 different scenarios. I think one was called Lockstep. There was I read them all. I was thinking about doing a video on that. I probably should dedicate one video solely to this Rockefeller Foundation document report from 2010 that outlined all the things we're seeing now. Very similar to Event 201, where it kind of laid out to a T the things we're seeing today. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, let me scroll on down here. All right, don't have too many more new comments. Uh-oh, I'm running out of power. I'm going to quickly grab my battery. Hang on, guys, 1 second. Sorry about this, guys. I really don't want to lose you. So let me get this plugged in. Okay, whew. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I am running out of juice. Didn't want to lose you. See what other questions or comments we may have. My little buddy here coming in to join in on the conversation. You guys want to meet Tony? This is he's called 420 Tony because he was born on April 20th. So he's aptly named 420 Tony. Okay, buddy. All right. Show the people your cute little face. He's got a bow tie. You know, his nickname is Furry Rothbart. But he's a sweet little guy. I have another guy who's hanging out back here. Why don't I show you guys? Why not? Kaiser. Oh, buddy. Oh, we got another guy here. This is Kaiser Sose. And he's a little harder to see because he's all black. But this guy's often just kind of hanging out right there behind me, chilling pretty much for every video I do. These guys are somewhere in the background. You often see them walking around. Anyways, guys, getting a little off track here. But hey, this is what I like about these live streams. It's so much fun interacting with you guys, the live audience. If you guys appreciate these, let me know if you want to see me do more of them, if they should be a little more regular, or maybe I should do them at the same time. I've suggested this before, and then you guys would know when you can tune in. But, good boy. So yeah, I think maybe we'll call it at that, guys. I have to go on another podcast in a half hour from now that I'm going to be doing for an hour. So I want to take a quick little break in between doing these live streams. So on that note, folks, first of all, I want to thank you. Thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. It's a weird time right now. I'm kind of being attacked largely online, but I'm so thankful for the YouTube followers who understand where I'm coming from and who support my efforts to bring you guys this information day in and day out. So thank you so much to all the loyal subscribers. Some people contact me every now and then. They've been like, I've been following you since 2006, and that's amazing for people like that. And if you're one of those guys, awesome. If you've just subscribed, welcome to the channel. Stay tuned. Use the search feature on my channel to look up keywords to find out, hey, has he covered this in the past? Has he covered this? What's his views on this? What's his opinion on that? Use the search feature on my channel and go through my 13 years of videos on this platform to find out what I had to say about a particular topic you might be interested in if you are new. Once again, guys, I want to remind you to share this information. I'm being shadow banned right now. Be sure to subscribe to me on BitChute, on Float, on Minds, on Steemit. All of these are located in the description. And we also do need your financial support. As you can see, you can't contribute any super chats right now. There are no ads playing on this channel, which is a good thing. But I'm not able to generate any kind of revenue off this channel. The only way I can now is to get it directly from you guys, the viewers, which, as I said earlier, is how I want it anyways. I want to be beholden to you guys, you and me, one-on-one relationship, and I'm going to continue to provide this information for free, as I have for 13 years. I put out 5 documentary films on this platform for free to present the information to you guys so you have this alternative viewpoint. You know, I think it's a public service what I do here. I'm doing it for you, but obviously I have to survive, and this is what I do 24/7. I eat, sleep, and breathe Press for Truth. So I do need your help. If you guys do appreciate my efforts, please check the links in the description. You can contribute PayPal. There's a GoFundMe campaign called PFT Demonetized. If I had $1 for every subscriber, we could make the MSM obsolete, guys. I've got, what, 260,000 subscribers or something like that. That's a significant, chunk of change that would allow me to, expand this beyond just sitting here in my living room broadcasting, on this particular platform. With your help, we can grow this, we can expand this. I literally am a one-man show, guys. I do all the research, I do all the editing, I do all the marketing, I do all the promoting, I do the uploading, all of it. So if you want to help, financially is a great way to do it. But the best way, guys, is to click that thumbs up button, share the video, get the information out there, and then secondly, if you can afford it, contribute. It's tough times right now, and I'm feeling it. Clearly, I'm feeling the crunch. A lot of donations are dropping off, and monthly subscribers are starting to unsubscribe. Totally fine. Please do if you're struggling. If you are struggling, please do not go out of your way to contribute. But if you do have it within your means, I would just ask that you consider making a contribution. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm going to continue to do this. So you don't have to, obviously. I'm going to continue to do this moving forward, but it certainly would be greatly appreciated if people want to help out. Anyways, guys, that's all for today. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, click that thumbs up button. Continue to share these videos as I'm going to continue to develop, cover this as it continues to inevitably develop. I don't think this is going away anytime soon. So thank you again so much for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Love you all. Do your research. Do your due diligence. Don't take it from Bill Gates or the Faucis or the WHO's or the CDC. Shut your TVs off. Continue to turn into Press for Truth and those of us like us. And stay safe. All right, guys. Much love. Peace out to everybody.